Are you going places or left behind without a travel companion? Listen to how you can travel more independently. Dr. Mary Travelbest will bring you the best tips and her travel mistakes so you can benefit.
Welcome to Dr. Mary Travelbest's Independent Travel Guide. This is for women who travel, who want to travel, and especially for those who want to travel independently. I wrote and published the best-selling book, CD and website, The World's First Guide to Independent Travel, and since 1993, I've been running a marketing business while raising 4 children with my husband and been a university professor while traveling. These travel experiences are necessary tools, so I want to share them so you make your trip the very best, like travel best. In this episode, the FAQ is how to find a place to worship while visiting. The destination is Memphis, Tennessee. The mistake is needing to go to sleep while tipsy. And the travel tip is on travel with pets. And here's the FAQ. It's Sunday, and I want to worship in my religion. How do I find a place of worship in a city where I'm just visiting? Here's the answer. Keep the faith strong while on the road. That's important. And here are some tips for you to follow. Number 1, download the app Church Finder from the Apple Store or Google Play. Take a look at Church Finder. Number 2, go to your search engine and type in churches near me or churches and then put in the location. Seek out the ratings. You can look further into other social media regarding these you find before you visit because you might be looking for something very specific. Number 3, you can find Facebook groups in the city or village you visit and connect there. For example, search, quote, Christians, and then the location, unquote. And you will find several that you can look up in advance. Number 4, you can ask your spiritual friends before you go if they've been to that location. Number 5, you can ask your pastor for suggestions. Number 6, you can also find a trusted concierge in a hotel or ask at a restaurant nearby where you're visiting. So, best advice is before you visit, ask and learn about expectations, the address, service times, and the dress codes. So, now for today's independent destination, Memphis, Tennessee. Close your eyes and think of great music, and Memphis comes to mind. It's the birthplace of much great jazz, soul, spiritual, and rock music in America. Memphis's mighty Mississippi River location has certainly made a difference. I flew into the city on July 4th, just as dusk was approaching, and the fireworks all over the city were spectacular. It seemed like the city was a sparkling jewel, and I couldn't wait to get to know it. I stayed there for a week and then returned there after a 5,000-mile road trip. Now, FedEx must know something about road trips, which is why they have their world headquarters there. If you're visiting Memphis, here are some things for you to consider. Elvis's Graceland gates are open as of this recording. The tour can last up to several hours, depending on the choice you take. During COVID, they do take temperature checks of everyone, require masks, limit the capacity on the tour bus, limit the number of people in the house, and clean constantly. It was a good tour, so I can recommend this if you're a fan of the Elvis world. Graceland is located close to the airport, so it's easy to find and navigate. You can stay here in a nearby resort with the same name, or you can reserve your tickets in advance and park about a half a mile away and avoid the parking fee. Restaurants have both indoor and outdoor seating at 50% capacity here. I'm into the music, so the house, the cars, and the glitz was not as important as the recordings and the history of rock and roll that Elvis carried through this region. So even if you don't go on a tour, you can see the thousands of people have left their signature here on the wall outside the home where Elvis lived. It's a long wall with room for your signature if you so desire to leave your mark. Speaking of music, you can see live music on Beale Street any time of the day within reason. They block the streets from cars on weekends so you can stroll through a history of music in Memphis anytime you like. For a more formal education on the history of music here, visit Stax Records, Sun Recording Studios, or drive along Route 66 and find the historic museum outside of Tunica, Mississippi. Nearby downtown is an area called Mud Flats, which was really very nice to explore on a bicycle. I'd highly recommend that view of the river, the bridges, and the fresh air. The most touristy thing to do is to visit the Civil Rights Museum, located walking distance from Beale Street, to learn about the history of Martin Luther King Jr. and his historic path for African Americans. I was moved by this experience, especially in the wake of the civil unrest in our country in 2020. I encourage you to get an education about this period in our country's history so we can better prepare for the future. There was so much to see in Memphis. I'd love to tell you more about it. But then you should also walk the city properly and find out for yourself why this is such a treasure. Look in the show notes for more information. Today's mistake: needing to go to sleep after wine. It's late and you still need to find your room and you had a couple of glasses of wine. My mistake was drinking on an empty stomach. I had too little to eat and too much to drink and needed to sleep it off in Chicago during a recent reunion. I slept in an extra bed of my girlfriend Joe Balsamo and took the subway train to my room the next morning. Don't think you'll be able to navigate well after wine on an empty stomach. That is not a good idea. So be sure to eat and hydrate with water before and when you are imbibing so you are better prepared and stay alert and safe. I've got lots in the show notes on this too. Now, today's travel advice is on travel with pets. So how do you travel with pets? Now, I'm not a pet owner, so I had to get this from friends who are. They travel with pets all the time. From my friend Lori Emmel, who takes her pets in the car, here is her pet travel advice. She says, pets go to the restroom when you go. And she says they sleep a lot of the time. They make good company for the solo traveler, but even better company when there's another adult on board to care for the pet. The show notes give lots of tips on safe travel with pets in the car, on an airplane, a ship, or a train. So if you have questions, you can check with your vet or the Humane Society. Today, I want to bring meaning to your travel. Thanks for listening to the world's first guide to independent travel with Dr. Mary Travel Best. If you want to know more, just search Dr. Mary Travel Best and you'll find me. I'm on the web, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all formats. Helping women travel best is my goal. Please send me your travel questions so I can help you and help others too. I'm looking for you to travel best, so go ahead, let me know. What's on your bucket list?
What's on your travel bucket list? Tell the doctor and her team of women who travel the world seeking the very best. Dr. Travel Best, that is.